Session 475. Deleted. Rob noted, before the session, in line with our new way of thinking, Jen and I said that we could have 6 main categories in our lives: work, finances, living quarters, health, mobility, spiritual contentment, which would include helping others. The idea being that positive thought within these broad outlines would pay rich dividends. They said, "Good evening. You might recall that I have been giving you the same sort of material for some time now." Rob said, "Yes." They said, "As a unit, you operate in certain ways. As individuals, you operate in certain ways. When 2 individuals with strong negative thoughts are together, then their reality has strong negative aspects. Remember that all of your behavior was not negative, however, and give thanks for those abilities and accomplishments that are your own. Now, imagine how you will feel when your paintings sell. The joy that they will bring others. The joy that you will feel knowing they are wanted. Imagine what you will do as you sell so many paintings that you need more time to produce them, and how you will then leave your job in order to paint, and the sort of place you will live, and the feeling of contentment and creative challenge that will fill you. But do not imagine this in future terms, but in present terms. In other words, it is already accomplished, and it will then be fulfilled in physical reality. Do not then look anxiously about for buyers to check whether or not this is working. Your own intuitions may suggest acts for you to take that will be beneficial. Be alert to the inner voice, so that if this is the case, you will hear. Consider all of your contacts as possibilities, all of which may unfold, but do this imaginatively rather than willfully. Now, I tell you that if both of you use these methods, you will indeed completely change for the better not only your physical environment and reality, but your inner, creative, psychic, and spiritual environment. Already because of belief, a massive healing is taking place. The thoughts themselves cause electromagnetic changes, signifying physical changes deep in the tissues. But more than this, the fact itself of belief cleanses the psychic and spiritual channels of negative debris. Often in the past, you worked against each other unwittingly. When one managed an overall psychic change for the better, the other would negate it through discouragement or negative patterns. Now, as a unit, your separate realities obviously form a larger combined unit in which you operate. 2 of you working together can do 7 times more than one operating alone. Do you follow me? Rob said, "Yes." They said, "Your trip," Rob noted, "Sunday, we drove to Cotton." They said, "Was beneficial, but it was impeded by negative thoughts of Ruber's, and also to some degree by the fact that you pointed out his symptoms without reminding him that the inner self could and would minimize them. You need to remind him when he forgets." Rob noted, "I didn't even think of it that way. And should have, of course. This is one of those instances where the mere mention of what you have been doing makes the action glaringly obvious." They said, It is helpful to point out that he is holding himself stiffly, for example, but not in that manner. The approach should be, you can be flexible, you can relax. Remember, your inner self is helping you relax and be flexible. Or touch him as you say this and speak directly to the neck or shoulders or whatever is involved. Otherwise, he simply feels the weight of his arrows and becomes angry at himself. You may say, "It's all right, you are learning." Now feel the inner self remedy the condition. But do not say, "Your shoulders are stiff," or "You are not walking well." For you reinforce the condition. Say instead, "You will find you can walk easier." Feel yourself flexible. Give your inner self a chance. Do you understand the approach? Rob said, "Yes." Seth said, "In your own case, with paintings. Now, imagine your paintings in homes, in different environments, with people enjoying them. Imagine what you will do with the money. Settle upon a reasonable amount and expect it, knowing it is just. Do not think in a negative manner. This is good work. I won't let it go unless I get a good price. People owe it to me. Why should I let it go otherwise?" Rob said, "I don't seem to think that way." Rob noted, "But upon reflection, I see that the part about letting it go otherwise is all too true." Seth said, "Think instead. This is a natural talent I have, and it is natural that it appeals to others. And as I have an abundance of talent, so shall it bring me abundance. It will help others, and it is natural that it help me. Now, you are learning these laws. It is simply a matter of applying them correctly. I have told you how they work, and how precisely your thoughts and feelings form the universe that you know, and your own reality as physical creatures. It has taken you some time to understand this in practical terms. Rupert gave you some good images when he said that thoughts were like the colors and the lines you use to make a painting. Except the painting, which is physical reality, has more dimensions, and you must experience it quite directly. Your thoughts and feelings instantly reach out and form the objects that surround you. Calling upon this inner power, for it is power, will bring about the fulfillment of many other abilities and strengths that are within you. Do not limit it, therefore. Do not insist, for example, that money come to you only through painting or writing, or let this power show itself only in health, and remember always your own relationship with others, so that the energy that flows through you and is used by you to your benefit is also free to flow through you to others. Do not dwell upon the physical inconvenience of your immediate environment, for this only brings about their continuance. Think in terms, for example, of space, and you will have at least a feeling of space within your present environment. You will also find that the idea of space is a part of you, and it will be given to you in this environment or another. And as long as you continue to think of artistic as a poor-paying organization, so shall it be for you. It is your thoughts you must change, and these will bring about the changes you desire in physical reality. Telepathy operates. The idea of financial abundance and of an abundance of the good things in life will not limit you, nor limit the means possible by which they will come to you. In your imagination, therefore, do not limit the means. See yourself enjoying the abundance. If you reread much of the material, you will again discover truths that escaped you. For I tell you precisely how the ideas in your book operate, but neither of you took me to heart in practical terms. You had the means and did not use it. Rob said, "We probably weren't desperate enough." Rob noted, "True. At break, I took pains to explain to Jen that with the new approach I was using, I was quite aware that Seth had said it all before, and planned to go back over portions of the material thoroughly." Seth said, "I knew you would learn. Now, it is basic patterns of thought that help you or impede you. Psychological colorations of thought that form the general overall pattern of your physical reality. One thought alone seems to matter little, and yet it is part of a characteristic pattern of inner behavior, and as such has its place either in bringing you freedom and abundance, or in denying you freedom and abundance. Now, when Ruber tried to apply these laws in the past, he often did so erroneously out of a fear of action. As mentioned earlier, he exaggerated the power of aggression, so that the simplest self-protective act frightened him, and resentments built up. He still believed in the fantastic ability of destruction, and he tried to cover it up. He did not believe that strongly in the creative function of his own being and in the natural abundance of life itself. He was more pessimistic than you realized. A sick kitten was a dead kitten, not one who might recover. He did indeed fear destruction, so that he saw it everywhere, and therefore in himself. Nevertheless, his creative functions continued. In one front of yours, he saw 10, and imagined all kinds of dire thoughts were going on within your head. A myriad of negative thoughts paraded and were exaggerated. If he could not reach out to comb his hair correctly, then he was no good, a cripple for life, and useless. Much of this has fallen away, but some patterns remain, though he is now alert to many of them. Now, you did the same sort of thing in financial terms. You simply picked different areas. Drawing upon this energy in one area also releases it on other areas. The poor do get poorer, the rich do get richer. Because the poor become entrapped by their projections of poverty. Using such abilities to obtain money only can be highly disadvantageous, however, in the long run, particularly if there is no thought given to the help of others. This is why you have miserable rich men. You can also have happy poor men. It is possible, but in these cases, limitations are put by the individual, closing off other channels, and this is unnatural. Unless you place limitations, these released powers will operate in all channels of your reality. I did not realize that I had to speak to you in such simple terms. Now you may take your break. This is a read-along session. Rob said, "Oh yeah." Seth said, "To attach to your book." Now, think of it as already accomplished, in the same way that you see the image of a painting before you paint it. Otherwise, you are adding time limitations needlessly. Imagine your surprise, delight, and gratitude as if the event had already occurred. This is not lying to yourself. It is instead forming the framework of your physical reality. Imagine it also in the future, and it will be in the future. Imagine your reactions as if the events were already accomplished physical facts. Embellish them as much as possible. Then forget them. The feeling of expectancy is all important. That in the end all good can come today. Now, again, these thoughts actually form reality. In your particular circumstances, it was understandable that a while would elapse before you would put these truths to work for you in physical terms. To do so, however, increases their spiritual help also. For you see the results and then you have to realize that the truths are real. Yet, you must feel the truths are real before you can put them into effect. Do you follow me? Rob said, yes, this is about our present stage. Seth said, as long as you felt that unfulfillments were a part of your lot, because of your backgrounds, then this came about as a result of your belief. Change your belief and the lacks vanish. Form your new reality with as much trust and love and confidence, creativity and joy, as you do a painting or rubber a poem. You have denied your powers. No one has clothed you off. You had clothed yourselves off. On the other hand, once you realize this, there is no failure. You have your own abilities to work with, however. This does not mean that Ruber should expect to go off and make great money as a musician, but expect abundance and the release of all your abilities. Again, do not limit. Ruber should not forget the idea of some money from his painting, or you from writing. This does not mean any change of careers. It simply means that you should keep yourselves open. Otherwise, you are saying that money and abundance come in this corner of my yard, and no other. Do you see? Rob said, yes. Seth said, now, Ruber, of course, must work on his own attitudes along with the healing process. The knowledge that you are helping him, however, is of great import, and you can often help him when he needs it most. Health is not your hand-up. Because of your love of him and his receptivity to you, you can be of great benefit, and the touch on your part is far more important than either of you realize. However, Ruber can be of great help to you as far as thoughts of abundance are concerned. With a few changes in his attitude, which I will try to bring out in our sessions, he can help bring about a definite change for the better in that regard. There he can be very free. Abundance is a good word to use, for it signifies a free and easy access to all pleasurable things, including creativity, mobility, both mental and physical, and easiness in flow of any kind. The word itself is the antithesis of restraint, and it is an excellent word for you to use. You, Rob noted, Seth pointing to me. Seth said, and understand. It sets you apart from your father and mother, and serves to sever any negative suggestions. It will also release you in your paintings. It will serve to release your abilities in any direction. both of you. The book you are reading is excellent for your purposes. Rupert should watch feelings of restriction when he does your grocery shopping. This is negative. There is a difference between gluttony and abundance. Now, you may take your break. Now, the main point is the acceptance that all of this is as natural as rain or the seasons. It was only your idea that this was not natural that prevented you from using your abilities fully. Rupert thought it was natural for him to become ill because of his background and to overreact for the same reason. He thought it was natural for him to be afraid of life because his mother was. You thought it was natural and inevitable because of your background that you should not have money, even that you should be a loner for the same reason, and deny yourself natural companionship. Part of this you circumvented, the rest you did not. You did not want to give of yourself to the world, because you felt that this was a natural reaction, picked up from your father. You would pant, but not sure. When you realize that health and abundance are natural, and illness and limitation are natural, then you are free to develop, to use what you have, to give and take. Now, your attitudes, for example, toward this apartment formed your reality here from the moment you walked in. Both your positive and negative attitudes toward it seemingly were justified, because the exterior conditions mimicked perfectly your inner attitudes. Did your attitudes cause the traffic jam? You may ask, and I tell you that they did. They exaggerated the sensory stimuli. Had your attitude been different, the stimuli would have been so minimized that noise never would have bothered you. Literally, your environment would not have included it. This does not mean you cannot have a home where there is no traffic and where it is still. If you persisted upon focusing on noise rather than quiet, however, you would find no quiet regardless of the circumstances. It would obviously be ridiculous to settle in the middle of a city like New York, if you valued quiet above all things. So common sense operates. Yet even in the midst of that noise, you could find quiet if that was your reality. There are several more points I want to make, rather important ones. I will give them to you this evening, or at our next session, as you prefer. Rob said, you can at least start now. Seth said, give us a moment then. In his imagination, let Rupert feel the sense of joy and release he would feel if he had run down the back stairs easily and joyfully. He need not see himself do so, but feel his emotions as if this had already happened, not once but many times. He need not concentrate upon images. Now, he has been imagining himself happy in and out of the windows to clean them, and has some trouble with the images. Have him instead simply imagine his joy and freedom with the performance complete, and forget the means. He is sitting inside looking out at the clean windows. He has just watched from the outside. Have him imagine his feelings with the full realization that his entire strength and flexibility have returned. What will he say and what will he do? His joy and release, and forget the how. And with your paintings, imagine the result, not the means. Your feelings with the accomplished facts. You are making a living as an artist at last. Your triumph. How you spend your time. The galleries that want your work, and divest yourself of negative ideas regarding galleries. Do not limit yourself. Take that sentence to heart. Do not close doors. Do not, from your experience with one gallery, project a negative attitude toward all galleries, any more than Ruber should do this with publishers. This is highly important and represents a block in your progress. Ruber should definitely send some poetry manuscripts out and work at his poetry. If he does not, then how can he complain that he has not written much lately? Galleries are a way of selling paintings. If you automatically view them negatively, you are setting limitations. Let all doors be open. Now, because of your later interest in medical profession, you have sold to hospitals in the past, commercially, and you have sold paintings to dentists. This is a connection here. Accept abundance in whatever way it comes, and underline that entire sentence. That this abundance expresses itself creatively in your work, and it will automatically bring financial abundance. For you particularly, use this word. Ruber's word should be flexibility in all aspects of his life. Now, he thinks he punishes his body for being ill by not allowing it pleasure with you in intimate relations. He is now realizing that there is nothing to punish it for. The intuitive realization came this afternoon, though he did not realize it. For it is natural for his body to bring him ease, pleasure, and satisfaction. Now, I will end our session. My heartiest good wishes to you both. Your individual psychic work will also improve as a result of these efforts. Rob said, "Good night, Seth, and thank you."